It was a morning like any other, but for Ion, something deep inside had shifted. He stood in front of the mirror, rubbing his eyes, trying to wake himself not just from sleep but from a sense of growing emptiness. Just a few weeks ago, he'd tasted success, small but real. His YouTube channel was finally gaining traction. Comments trickled in, some encouraging, some critical, all meaningful. He had dreams, bigger dreams, of turning this passion into a purpose. But that morning, in the cold light of day, he wondered if it was all a mistake. Ion's apartment was modest. The peeling wallpaper, the old wooden floor creaked every time he took a step. But this place was his sanctuary, where he brainstormed ideas, shot his first videos, and edited late into the night. It had seen his optimism, his drive, yet now it echoed back his doubts, delivering whispers, "Are you good enough? Is this worth it?" He brushed his hand over his heart, feeling its frantic beat, wanting to slow but unable. Just the night before, he had uploaded a video that, in his mind, should have broken through. He'd poured his soul into it, carefully crafted scenes, uplifting voiceover, powerful B-roll, but after 24 hours, the views were underwhelming. Not a disaster, but not the breakthrough he'd envisioned. Comments were kind, but not viral, likes were there, but not overwhelming. He wondered, was he playing a losing game? The pressure built. Ion's parents called him less often now. He sensed their concern. They liked the idea that he was creative, but they didn't hide their worries. "You need stability," his mother said, voice soft but insistent. "What if this YouTube thing doesn't work?" His father, more practical, added, "Maybe you should look for a job, something secure." Ion nodded politely, but inside, his chest tightened. How could he explain that creativity for him was not just a hobby, it was life? He tried to drown his anxieties in work. He threw himself into filming, scripting, editing, nights blurred into mornings. He skipped meals, forfeited sleep. Yet the more he tried, the more distant his dreams felt. His energy felt borrowed from a fading spark he used to have. There was conflict, the dream he loved, and the reality he feared. Then came the call. Ion had rented his editing computer on loan, his own couldn't handle the render times. The lender phoned. He needed the machine back. "I'm sorry, man," the voice crackled through the speaker. "I need it this weekend. I've got urgent work. You'll have to find another way." Panic tightened Ion's throat. He had one more video due by Monday. Without that computer, he would have to delay, maybe even cancel his release. It felt like a knife twisting in his gut. He looked at his reflection again. Dark circles under his eyes puffy, skin pale. He hardly recognized himself. He remembered the confidence he felt when he pressed upload on his first ever video, so insecure, but also so hopeful. That version of himself would be proud, he thought. That version believed in magic. But this version was tired. Night fell, and with it, the weight of his doubts pressed hardest. He sat at his desk, staring at his microphone, his camera, his half-written script. He asked himself, what if I fail? What if nobody listens? What if one day, I regret all of this? The questions churned in his mind like a storm, louder and louder, until tears came unbidden. In those tears, memories came, the first time he held a camera, trembling, the first time he edited, fumbling with software, the first time someone thanked him for a video that helped them. Those moments felt distant, but they still lived in him. He remembered why he started. To be heard, to connect, to inspire. But fear is powerful. It tempts you with a vision of futility. For the first time, Ion considered quitting. He imagined sending an email to the few subscribers he had. "Thank you for being here, but I'm done." He saw himself walking away from the desk, turning off the lights, shutting the door on his dream. He lay down on his bed, body aching, mind racing. Sleep felt impossible, because what should rest in his mind was worry. He replayed worst-case scenarios. Nobody watches tomorrow's video, he loses momentum, he disappoints his family, he wastes his time. He thought of the rent, of bills, of food. The creative life he romanticized felt fragile, precarious, like a house built on sand. Then, just as the darkness seemed absolute, a tiny spark lit inside him. Ion remembered something his grandmother once told him when he was a child: in the darkest night, the smallest star shines brightest. That memory, simple and soft, made him sit up. He reached for his notebook on the floor and flipped to a page where he'd written an old line: "If I can bring someone light, then every failure is worth it." Tears blurred his vision, but not just from sadness, from something like resolve. He whispered to himself, maybe it's not about being the biggest. Maybe it's about being real. Maybe I keep going because someone out there needs to hear me. His voice, though weak, carried conviction. He closed his notebook, brushed away the tears, and forced himself to breathe deeply. He rose, steadied his legs, and returned to his desk. He picked up his camera, his microphone, his script. He opened the editing software and stared at a blank timeline. The computer wasn't his anymore, but he would find a way. He could borrow, rent, or wait, but he would not give up. In that moment, in the stillness of his room, Ion made a promise to himself, he would try one more time. This time, not just for views or growth, but for meaning. For heart, for the person he was when he first picked up that camera. And with that vow, he pressed record, his voice trembling, but his spirit quiet and determined. Morning came again, but this time it felt different. It felt like a new beginning. Ion sat at a makeshift workstation at a friend's place, someone who believed in him enough to lend him a computer. As he reopened his project file, he felt a surge of gratitude and energy. He realized, sometimes help comes in unexpected forms, from unexpected people. He began editing with care. Every cut, every transition, every voiceover word, he arranged them not just to sound good, but to resonate. He thought about his own pain, his fear, his doubt, and he channeled them into something creative, something honest. He layered in B-roll of empty streets, sunrise, flickering light in windows, a candle burning in silence. He added subtle music, soft at first, then swelling, then quiet again, to match his emotional arc. As he worked, he remembered his viewers, the few who had written to him, who said his words helped them feel less alone. He thought, I'm not just making a video. I'm telling a story. Their stories matter, too. That awareness filled him with purpose. The editing process, once exhausting, now became cathartic. The project became a confession, a voice raised against fear. Finally, after hours of work, he hit export. The rendering bar ticked forward slowly, but he didn't feel impatient. He watched the back of his hand, the light flickering on his desk, the shadows dancing. He listened to the quiet hum of the computer. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, a long, steady breath, as if inhaling courage. He uploaded the video. In the description, he wrote something from his heart. This is for anyone who feels like giving up. But also for those who believe, just a little, that their voice matters. He set a publish time. When the video went live, he didn't wait for immediate validation. He reminded himself, this was more than a numbers game. He hit share on his social accounts, but more importantly, he whispered a quiet prayer, let this reach someone who needs it. And then, he waited. The first views trickled in. A handful, then more. Comments came. Someone wrote, I was in a dark place. Your words, they hit hard. Thank you. Another, watching this gave me hope. A woman messaged, my dreams feel so small, but your story, you gave me permission to dream again. Each message landed in him like rain on dry earth, nurturing something. Ion shared the video with his parents. He told them what it meant, not just for his channel, but for his heart, for his identity. He told his father, this isn't just about views. It's about connection. He told his mother, I want to make something that lasts, something true. They listened. They saw him, not as a kid chasing a fantasy, but as someone building a bridge. He started making more videos, not out of desperation, but out of purpose. He changed his approach. He didn't just chase virality or shortcut tricks. He leaned into authenticity. He scripted stories of struggle, of growth. He documented real moments, the exhaustion, the breakthroughs, the quiet clarity. He shared his lessons, not just as tips, but as testimonies. With every video, his audience grew, slowly, steadily. Subscribers came. Some stayed to watch, others to comment. He built a community, people who believed in the journey, not just the destination. He responded to comments, sharing gratitude. He asked questions, inviting viewers into a conversation. He told them, your voice matters, too. He also learned to pace himself. He balanced his content creation with rest, with reflection. He stopped thinking of failure as an enemy. Instead, he viewed it as a teacher. When something didn't work, he asked, what can I learn? When views dipped, he reminded himself, impact isn't always measured by numbers. He embraced the process, not just the outcome. One evening, as he closed his laptop after finishing an edit, he leaned back and looked at his reflection in the computer screen. The person staring back was different, calmer, stronger, more centered. The person had grown, not just as a creator, but as a human being. He realized that hope was not something you find, it's something you cultivate. It's born in struggle, nurtured in perseverance, and sustained by community. He smiled quietly, and then he addressed his audience directly, through the lens of his camera, as if speaking to a friend. If you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for your time, your support, and for believing in this journey with me. If this video spoke to you, know you're not alone. And if you're new here, I'd be honored if you joined our small but growing family. Hit that subscribe button, so we can continue building something real, together. Your voice matters, your story matters, and I can't wait to hear more. He paused. The silence was soft, sacred. He leaned forward, rested his hand gently on his heart, and smiled again, genuinely. Then he ended the recording. As the outro music played, he added a visual reminder on screen: subscribe, right pointing arrow, join the journey. Be part of the change. In that moment, he didn't just ask for a subscriber, he invited a companion, someone who believed in meaning over metrics, in connection over clicks. And as the screen faded to black, he felt hope rebuild itself, stronger, steadier, alive.